Hello and welcome to another episode of Innovate on Purpose, brought to you by the Mindful Innovator. My name is Matt Mueller. I am your host and author of the Mindful Innovator and retail consultant. And today I have an amazing guest here who I had the pleasure of meeting in New York City at the Lead Summit about just a month or so ago.
Yes.
And we could not stop talking. So I figured we need to have you on the podcast so we continue talking. Our guest today is Linda Johansson-James, who is the CEO of International Retail Group and is doing some amazing things out there with IRG and also has an amazing history within retail. So it's really some cool things that I wanted to dig into today. So today we're going to have a conversation about the retail experience, where it's going, and what we should be expecting to see in the future. So Linda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really excited, Matt. Sometimes when you go to these conferences, especially if you go by yourself, it's always a little nerve-wracking, right? Even though we're part of this great Rethink Retail group. But you and I just kind of clicked and hit it off. So I'm really excited, first of all, to be on your show. I've watched it and you're a great interviewer. And I love the Mindful Innovator. I think that's just an incredible concept. And so I'm thrilled to be talking to you. And we've become friends now, so it's an easy conversation.
Absolutely. Super casual conversation here. So I'm so excited to dive into this with you. But I guess just to start us off, I know you pretty well now as far as what you're doing in retail, but I would love for you just to kind of give a little bit of background of, why people today should really be opening up their notebooks and taking notes.
Well, listen, I've been in retail, I hate to say, because it's going to date me a little bit, but for about 26 years. My husband and I had a company called American Kiosk Management for 20 years. And we were the largest owner-operators of carts and kiosks and pop-up stores and automated resale stores in the world. We had 500 locations in 4 countries. And we had 1,500 automated retail stores that we sold product in malls, airports, military bases, store in store, and selling the number one selling acne treatment product, which was Proactive.
Yeah, so small business, right?
Yeah, we hired and trained over 54,000 employees, and it was like my jump off into retail. I had worked retail while I was raising my daughter as a single mom, as a second job. Never really thought of it as a full-time job till I met my husband. And I fell in love with this whole customer service retail experience. So after 20 years, my husband and I sold the company. My husband retired, not sure if he was the smart one or not. and he wrote a book, and I started International Retail Group. So a little different focus. I help brands, entrepreneurs to test and launch their product in retail. So everything from hiring and training to management to real estate negotiating, and then leadership training, mentoring for those brands. And then I started International Retail Magazine, a global retail publication. So anyway, so I'm a little busy.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on, so you definitely are glutton for punishment.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, the magazine, first off, is absolutely just stunning. I had a chance to see a physical copy of it when we were together, and it's just gorgeous. So super well done, and I cannot wait for the next edition, which is coming out in November. Was it?
Right, yeah, it'll be the 1st of November. Yeah.
Nice. Can't wait for that to come out.
Thank you.
And then as far as the things that you're doing with IRG, you're super busy. I see everything that you got going on LinkedIn, and I'm sure that's not even all of it, but I saw you're in Phoenix right now, right? With a couple of different clients. Can you tell us what you're doing with them?
Well, I have like I say, I work with entrepreneurs, which I love, people who are looking to launch and test in retail. So Tim has 9 stores, and he's domiciled out of Las Vegas. So this is his first launch out of the Las Vegas area, and we're opening 2 stores in Scottsdale Fashion Square. He has a high-end men's clothing brand, streetwear, high-end glasses, accessories. And so, so I came down here to help him unpack and steam, and just, I like to be there. I believe, Matt, and I know you do too, just in our conversations, that boots on the ground are really important.
Yes.
And so I don't tell my clients to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. And so I like to be side by side with them and help them.
Yeah, that's the retail DNA, right? It's like no
It
matter
is.
what, we're always boots on the ground, ready to get our hands dirty
Yes, I
with
love
our
it.
employees, with our clients. That's awesome. And then I also saw you did like a training.
Yeah, so yep. So I do their sales training. I've been mentoring and coaching with Tim now for 3 years. And I help him with training his staff and reviewing numbers and really help him to understand the retail business and really just to help him be more successful. He's such an incredible man, and so is his wife. She owns 3 stores too.
Oh wow.
And they're the epitome of this jumping off and really embracing retail, which people are still doing. So, as you
Yeah,
and I would say, it's not dying.
it is not. It is not. I'm
It's
pounding
not.
that drum. Well,
Exactly.
let's start talking a little bit about that
Right.
with retail and it not dying. Like when you say like, retail future experience, a lot of people envision that it's going to be Amazon. It's going to be e-com and just,
Yeah.
press a button, things come to you and that's it. You and I both know that's not the case, right? That's not what retail is becoming. That may be part of it, but it's not. So everyone is talking about e-com. Like, do you feel like retailers are taking their eye off the ball, like, and focusing too much on e-com? Like, where do you see that going and playing in a role in retail in the future?
Well, I have to tell you, Matt, that I, first of all, do not think that retail is going strictly online. You and I know that without question. And I think what's happening is today's retailers forgetting how the consumer buys. And I believe there was a book that I keep on my desk all the time. If I was on my desk, I'd show it to you, by Paco Underhill, Why We Buy.
Mhm.
And it's been like a staple for me for 20 years. I've told him that. I refer my clients to it because it's not that people, because of COVID, have stopped going into stores. We want to interact. We want to be social, but retailers have forgotten how to take care of us. They've forgotten what customer service means. And I know that by listening to your podcast and what you posted yesterday, it's about that consumer journey and experience, and it's about being mindful and taking care of the customers. You and I would not shop online if every experience that we had in store was the experience that we were looking for. So I think
Yeah.
there's a place for me. I think there's a place for retail. I think there's a place for online if I'm not able to get to the store, right? So I think retailers need to make sure they have that 360 experience for
I-
every consumer, right?
Yeah.
Online, in store, on the app, however the consumer wants to buy.
Yeah. The
And
consumer journey is not a straight line anymore, right? So it's
no,
it's a
it's
matter of
not.
thinking about all those different touch points and all those different ways and routes that people can take to
Yep.
have that experience and making sure that you're covering all of them. Like,
Yes.
why do you think the retailers are taking their eye off the ball?
Well, I think cost is one thing. Let's face it, we came through a major pandemic. A lot of stores were closed for a long time. I mean, I invented my magazine because 38 of my customer stores closed.
Mm.
And I was sitting at home thinking, what am I going to do with myself, right? So that's how IRG magazine came about, was because of that. But I think that the retailers, because they were closed, forgot that we wanted to interact and be social and come back into the stores, right?
Yeah.
So I I I don't think it's that they don't know. I think they've forgotten. I had an experience the other day where I was in a store. I think I posted it on LinkedIn, so I won't say the name, but I had to buy something, so I ran into the store to get it. And in the whole women's department, I couldn't find one person to ring me up.
Mm.
Not one.
Yeah. I've had that problem too in the men's
So,
department though.
and it's expensive to hire and train people, right? It's
Yeah.
expensive. So we have to hire, train people and keep them and keep them.
Yes. That's a very good point. Yes. One of the biggest challenges that we face in retail is that turnover
Yep.
and keeping those employees in place. Why? Like, why is that such a big issue for us?
You know, I I that question keeps me up at night
Yeah.
because I help my clients by hiring and recruiting, hiring and training their employees, right? I mean, it's one of the jobs that I do. And one of the things I looked at is when my husband and I had AKM, our average manager stayed with us 16 years.
Wow.
Now listen to me.
16.
These people were working carts in the middle of the mall selling zit cream. First of all, back then we weren't considered retailers. We were cart people, right? That's what they called us. We're cart people. But what we did is we told our employees that regardless of where you work, you are a retailer. So whether you're in the common area, you're a pop-up, you're an inline, you're a big box, it doesn't matter. You are a retailer, so you act like a retailer. So I think what's happened is retailers have forgotten that they have to take care of their employees first, and they'll take care of the customer.
Yeah. It's the
And
foundation.
I know you know that, and I know
Mhm.
you believe that because you talk about that all the time, like I do.
Absolutely. I mean, being a retail employee,
Yep.
starting off from the bottom of the
Yep.
part-time, yeah, you gotta love those employees.
Yep.
Yeah, you get what you put into it for sure.
And it's
So
not about the pay always, right?
no, absolutely
It's
not.
not about the pay. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, who, by the way, I met because she was an employee of mine then, and now she's a friend. Even, 10 years later, since we sold our business, we still talk. And she said, Linda, it was about how you treated us. It was about how the company treated us, why we wanted to stay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a big difference. I did a research project with retail employees and finding out like what was it like that they really wanted, and pay was nice, but
Yeah.
when you pay them more, that's like a great treat in the moment,
Yeah.
but they forget about it very quickly. And really, it
Yeah.
was came down to the acknowledgement and feeling appreciated and understood and listened to.
And rewarded for a good job.
Exactly.
Rewarded.
Yes.
I talked to an employee yesterday, and she had the biggest month ever that the company had ever had in one store. So I called her and I said, "Oh my God, Charity, I'm so excited for you. It's unbelievable." And she goes, "You're calling to tell me that?" I'm like, "Of course. I mean, it's
Mhm.
that recognition. It's boots on the ground. It's the C-suite. It's the executives. It's the regionals, not sitting in their golden ivory towers, right?
Yep.
Dictating policy and procedure. It's being boots on the ground, working side by side and knowing what's happening. My corporate staff, and they still do, by the way, have to go out and work stores. They have to understand what it's like every day when there's nobody coming in, when they're getting all those returns, when people are complaining to them. They have to understand what it means, because my husband and I used to train our corporate staff, and we had 65 corporate staff. These people pay your paycheck. You got it?
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. Stay
Right?
connected for sure. And that's, yeah.
Stay connected.
Mhm.
Right.
So retailers taking their eye off the ball a little bit, focusing on the shiny new object, which is e-com and AI and all those other cool
Sure.
tools, not really focusing in on this in-store experience. You're focusing on the in-store experience. So if we were to say, hey, retailers, it's time to just get mindful, get in the moment and recenter yourself. Like,
Yeah.
what are the things that they should be focusing on to meet consumer needs today? Like, what are customers looking for when they go into a retail store?
Listen, I think it's all really nice. I think that we have to look at how different consumers shop and offer all of that. And sometimes, let's face it, Matt, it's just not cost effective for some of these retailers to do that, right? So I believe that for a retailer to stay where the consumer is today, they have to offer the way I want to buy. And how do we find that out? We ask me, how do I want to buy? Right? My
Mhm.
favorite store in the whole wide world, Matt, and I won't say name, but my favorite store in the whole wide world took its eye off of how I wanted to shop. I wanted to go in store. I don't buy clothes online. I'm sorry, just don't, unless I know the brand, right?
Yeah.
Unless I know what I want. I have to go in, I have to try it on, I have to make sure it looks good, I have to do all of that stuff, right? However, I do want them to offer me an online experience when it suits me, right? And I do want to have an app to make it easier. I do want to have all of those things. And if it's easy for me, I do want to have a self-checkout. I don't want to have to wait for someone to ring me up, right?
Mhm.
So I think if we go back to basics. And that's how I explain it, is that ask your customers how they want to buy from you and then offer it to them. I think too many DTC brands launch in retail and forget that I have to pay for it at the same cost that you're offering it online. And I know that your costs in retail are a little bit higher. I get it. But then renegotiate your wholesale pricing and make it so that it's a seamless purchase for you. And
Yes.
right, do not sell it more in store than you do online. Don't make me show it to you on the phone. Make sure you're training your people. So I
Yeah.
think it's that simple. So if I can tell one more story, and that is when we were selling Proactive, you can imagine how difficult it was for my employees to sell a zit cream in the middle of a shopping center. It was really hard, right? But we scripted them. We provided them with all the tools they needed to know what benzoyl peroxide is, and are you allergic to it, and salicylic acid and sulfur and all of those things. And the other thing we did is we realized that not a lot of people wanted to buy from us because they were ashamed or were embarrassed buying an acne treatment. So we partnered with a great company by the name of Swift, a guy by the name of Gower Smith, who invented the automated retail machine, right? High-tech vending.
Yep.
I said, nobody is ever going to buy zit cream from a vending machine if they don't have me, right? They're just not. Well, boy, was I wrong. And I'm thankful that, Gower and my husband and the folks at Guthrie Ranker, saw that people buy in different ways. So we set up the high-tech vending machines in airports and store and military bases and in shopping malls that a staffed model didn't make sense or was too expensive. And guess what? People bought it.
Look at that. Yep. That's a huge insight that you found.
And people bought it. And you know what we did? We did intercepts. We didn't just stick machines out there and expect people to know how to use them. We put people there and said, hey, what would make this easier for you to buy? They said, if you had a GUI, if you stepped us through, how do I do this? How do I make it work? How do I ring myself up? How does it dispense? So that's what we did. We put step by step. That's where grocery's missing out today in the self-serve is they don't tell me how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Right.
It's creating that seamless experience. So you have to reduce the friction. And when you're putting something new into an experience, if there's friction immediately, it's not going to be adopted. But I like what you're saying there too, as far as finding that insight of selling zit cream in the mall with a person trying to sell it to you, absolutely can feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
And it's something that you need to kind of experience. You have to kind of be there experience. Like if you're a leader that has this company and you never go down into the mall to actually get to the kiosk and experience it and actually feel it, that's a huge issue. Like you have to be able to go in and actually feel it. So I think it's just really good advice to be able to go into your locations and not only ask questions, but feel the experience yourself. And you can easily see where those friction points are. But
you probably remember, Matt, from your days in retail. Don't you remember we used to do customer intercepts, right? We used to talk to the customers while they were buying, say, hey, tell us about the product. Tell us about your experience. Would send them out surveys. We get surveys now. Nobody ever reads them. I've put some pretty interesting things in my surveys and nobody's ever called me. So now what you have to do is you have to literally talk to me. This whole conversation about Gen Z, they don't want to buy, they don't want to buy in store. They don't want to do this. Gen X doesn't want to come in store. Well, it's not true. I went to a conference and I talked to Gen Zs and they said, we do want to be in store, but it has to be a good customer experience. Because if you don't give me a good customer experience, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this phone and I'm going to order it online right in front of you.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say, see what you missed out on. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's creating that experience that they want.
Yes.
So what does the younger generation want? What kind of experience are they looking for when they get to store?
They want a customer experience. They want someone who actually speaks to them and doesn't yell, welcome in from the back of the room. And if I hear that from one more person in retail, I swear right? Hi, welcome in. You might as well say, listen, I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to talk to you. Just look around and don't, right, bother me because I'm on my cell phone. I'm busy standing behind the POS desk.
Yeah.
They want you to provide an experience. What does that mean in your store? Well, it could mean making sure that you give them the 4 seconds before you talk to them when they walk through the door, make them feel comfortable, have a conversation, scripture people so they understand. Give them that relationship, give them time to look around and ask them, would you like, have a sitting area, offer bottled water. I mean, it doesn't have to be a climbing wall. It doesn't have to be something overly expensive, right? But
Yeah.
it has to be an experience. Think about how you feel and how you like to shop,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
If you like to shop online, make it seamless, but say, listen, oh, and by the way, while you're ordering online, we do have a store that, guess what, is 10 minutes from you. Come
Hmm.
and see us in store. So make this whole 360 experience seamless for your customers and let them know, listen, you can buy from us this way, this way, this way, and this way.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I love doing is shopping stores with customers. So that's like my
Yes.
favorite thing to do in the world is actually just to go side by side, walk into a
Yep.
store with a customer and just feel what the
Mystery
experience is like
shop.
with them. Yeah. Yeah. Just like,
Mystery shop.
yeah, take me through this experience with you. Like,
Yes.
what are you liking? What are you disliking? And
Yes.
just doing that will teach you so much, and you'll know right away. Oh, yeah, I do need to offer a bottle of water, or oh, I need to give them 5 minutes before that I actually engage them when they walk into the store and say, "Hey, do you need
Exactly.
help with anything?" Like,
Right.
you'll know the right approach just by spending time with your customers, and it doesn't have to be a huge research project. Just go in and do that with them, and that's it.
And encourage them to interact with you on social media if that's what they
Mhm.
like.
Yeah.
With all of my clients, I tell them, hey, make sure you're getting names and emails and text messages. Let's make sure we offer a loyalty program. Let's make sure we ask the customers, what do you want to see from us? We're a brand new retailer. What do you like? What don't you like?
Hmm.
Would it encourage you to shop more if we offered a loyalty program? Because a lot of times you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
If you're a seasoned retailer, you should know by now,
Hmm. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. So talking about retail experience in the store, we have like this one leg that we can go down, which is like, okay, what's like that? What is that one-on-one experience with an employee? But
Yep.
you also talked about self-service, and
Yep.
self-service can absolutely be an in-store retail experience. So like, can you tell us a little bit more about like, just the automated self-service
Right.
self-service experience and how that fits into place in the stores?
Well, listen, I really love self-service and automated retail. I think well, first of all, automated retail has been around for a long time. I mean, other countries have embraced automated retail.
Hmm.
We were the first ones 24 years ago to actually put a skincare product in a vending machine. We were the first. Everybody said, nah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Well, here's what we did. We tested 8 machines in B markets for like a year. And we got all the data we needed to say, listen, it's not cannibalizing my in-store business. It's not cannibalizing online. It's not cannibalizing my partner's business. Wow, this is great. The customers like it. So I think there's a big missing market here in the United States for automated retail for all kinds of products, right? From electronics to
Yeah.
skincare to food, all of that. We see one or two onesie twosie here and there. I think that retailers, if you have to lock stuff up behind the counter like grocery stores do and people like Walgreens and CVS, don't make it where I have to walk all the way up to the front to
Oh,
customer
yes.
service to get someone to help me.
Yeah.
Because you know what? That's a terrible self-serve vending moment for me. And most of us, what we do? We tell everybody, well, it's
Hmm.
terrible. And then we post it on social media and we set it up. So if you're a retailer and you're embracing today's technology, make it seamless for your customer. If you're going to lock things up like razor blades and formula and all kinds of things that get stolen a lot, because that's a big issue in our industry,
Absolutely.
theft
Hmm.
and shrink, then make it where I can put my credit card up there and it dispenses, right? There's technology that has that. We had that technology 20 something years ago, right?
Yeah.
Or make it where it's not a bell, but it's a seamless process for me. With self-service, don't put a POS system that I don't understand how to use. And don't have that one person who's standing there on their cell phone, not engage with me to help me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have to make automated and technology simple for you and me and the everyday consumer to use.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
Yes.
making it frictionless. Like
Yep.
I know exactly what you're talking about too, as far as like you go into like a CVS to get formula that's locked up. You go up to the front,
Yes.
you got to wait online to get to an employee to get them to
Yes.
unlock it for you. And then you got to go wait on the line again to go pay for it. And it's just like, it's such a
Yes.
horrible experience. So there's
It,
definitely,
it's terrible.
yeah.
And then what do? You tell everybody. And what about older folks? And listen, I have a lot of older folks who embrace technology, but there's a lot of older folks. I'm busy. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm on a call. Do you see what's on the doors? Yeah. Sorry. We'll just have to edit that out.
No worries.
I
Was
have
it like
the
room
sign, do
service?
not, I have a sign on the door, do not disturb.
That doesn't mean anything, I guess. Well,
It
talking
doesn't.
about bad customer service.
I know, seriously. Anyway, so I think there's a time and place for technology, but you and I both know, Matt, that technology does not take away or add to, well, let me step back on there. The technology should not take the place of hiring and training and taking care of your employees so that they take care of your customers.
Well said. Yes. Thank you. So how should retail stores be approaching like the self-service aspect of it? I mean, absolutely, it should be putting into place to make it more seamless.
Yep.
But I think there's also like more that they can do with it. Actually, I think there's two different approaches. One is how does self-service kind of fit into your store?
Yep.
But then also how does it actually, go outside of your store? Can like self-service be like your secondary location?
Yeah, I mean that's fascinating to me. I'd always envisioned like a completely automated retail store, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're greeted by a robot who welcomes you into the store and you walk through and it's all technology. And I think, why hasn't anything like that happened?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that retailers have to look at, and I know you talk about this a lot, the store of the future. I'm always a little afraid, what does that mean? So I think we ought to be cognizant of not implementing too much technology until our stores are ready and finding the right partners. You and I have had the benefit of attending some conferences with some incredible people that are offering some incredible technology to
Mm-hmm.
make it simple for the retailers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it is about like augmentation, not replacement, right? It's just like how do you
Yes.
augment, how do you build on top of your customer journey to, make your employees like superpowered? Like one project I was working on was how do you use AI to give the employee more information to make it a personalized experience for the consumer? Like there's
Yes.
ways to like, bring it all together. So I think you have to think about like additive, not replacement.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And there's so much, like I'm using AI, everybody's shocked, but I'm using AI to help me, with presentations, to help me with training manuals, and I've asked my younger employees, how can I make this training easier? I just completed a mall management and retailer training with a client in Iraq, and we did it via Zoom. And they told me, they said, listen, this would make it easier for us if we did it this way. And so I think there's so many different ways that we can add technology to arm our employees. That's our job, right?
Mhm.
Arm the people that work with us, who make the cash registered ring, who are boots on the ground, serving our consumers. Listen to them. They'll tell you what they want or what
Yeah.
they need, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I also like want to go back to like this secondary location. Like I think there's like a way. Actually, there's people that are doing it right now, or companies are doing it right now, like a different channel strategy. Like thinking about like airports, right, where you have exposed, perfectly like positioned in every single, not every single airport, but in very busy airports that people can just go and purchase a $150, noise canceling headphone set. It's just like, it's a perfect secondary location. So I think it's
Oh, no, that's incredible. That's
yeah.
what we did with our automated retail machines. As a matter of fact, the Bose machines, that's the same gentleman who's
Oh,
doing
look
them.
at that. Yeah.
And there's some great things. So without saying too much, we're working together right now to a fully automated, I can't tell you who it is, but a fully automated kitchen, fully automated.
Ooh, nice.
And it's augmenting what they already have with their other offerings. So that's what we did with our automated retail machines, is putting them in military bases and airports outside of shopping centers as that other touch point for the customer was huge for us and cost effective, by the way.
Yeah.
So when you look at automated retail, it really can be a cost-effective way for you to put, like we put the top 10 products that we sold, right? But when they didn't become the top 10, then we switched it out to what the top 10 was then. And if the customer said, listen, we'd like to see you add this into the automated retail machine, we did. And here's what's fascinating. You'll appreciate this. And the retailers can think about this. Our average ticket value in our automated retail machines was only $10 less than the staff locations.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Because we did an upsell on the GUI, right? So if you bought this, we said, oh, like Amazon, they're brilliant at that.
Oh, yeah.
If retailers could learn from that piece, but because you're looking at this, you want this, right?
Absolutely. That's very
the
smart.
The upsell, right? For
always
those
got to have the upsell. Want fries with that?
Always. Always.
Yes. Linda, it's been awesome having you on. I have one more question for you. I want you to paint a picture for us of what does retail look like? Retailers have figured it out. They have been awoken that they need to worry about their in-store experience. What does it look like 5+ years from now?
Well, I've thought about that, and I think it looks like 5 years from now that we understand the customer journey, that we understand how they shop, and we offer all the services to our consumer that they want. And we have almost a completely, now listen, there's always going to be challenges, but we've implemented AI, we've implemented training, we've implemented the customer journey, we've implemented self-serve, we've implemented all of these things that we keep talking about. And each store has that so that the consumer buys the way they want to buy.
That's right. They can have it their way. So we'll all be like Burger King.
We can be.
Yes.
That's a good plug for them right there.
Right there. Yeah. So and today's sponsor is.
I love that. That's perfect.
I'm going to pitch it to him. We'll see what happens.
I know.
But you paint a bright future for retail. And I agree with you. Like we both said in the beginning of this episode, retail is not dead. And I definitely see it going in the right direction. We are going to be a little bit more mindful, I think, about, how our consumers want to shop. I hear people talking a lot more about the consumer journey and the tools that we do have coming out, like AI, like those, it can really evolve our experience and make life better for our employees, make life better for our consumers. So I like the picture you're painting. It's a bright future.
It is a bright future.
Yes. Well, Linda, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much for coming on, and love the work that you're doing. Keep on doing amazing work for our retail stores and employees and owners. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Back at you.
We have made it to the end of another episode. Thank you for tuning in. A couple of things before you go. If you have found value in this episode, I am sure you'll find value in what we have coming up. So please subscribe so you will have access and know when we launch the next episode. Also, leave a review. The more reviews we have, the further our reach becomes, and I truly want this to be heard by as many leaders as possible. Don't hog this all for yourself. I would love to hear your insights on this topic, so Meet me on social media at Matt Mueller Innovation on LinkedIn and Instagram. And lastly, if you want to learn more about my story and what I can do for you and your company, go to themindfulinnovator.com. I would love to help you innovate on purpose. Until next time, just remember, bring a level of awareness to each conversation, each observation, each moment, and you can create great change in this world. Thank you.